Hello everyone, this is probably the second video I've made since I've been out of the military. Um, so, I've been working my ass off, doing about 15-hour days. But, I did want to talk about a few things that I saw in politics recently. Hillary Clinton recently went on the attack against Tulsi Gabbard, claiming that she's a Russian asset and being groomed to run as a third party. Now, I'm going to put this out here. Personally, I hold moderate conservative values very highly. So, I'm not my voting. Well, looking towards Democrats is not my first choice, especially with the recent. And when I'm talking recent, I'm going as far as like 2014, 2013, and on. Democratic candidates and policy have gone more and more further to the left and utilizing identity politics to grandstand on. Focusing on a very, very minority group and thinking that inclusion is something that everybody wants, and all these progressive policies, expansion of government, increases of taxes, just the whole, leftist agenda. And I don't even like calling them Democrats, because these progressives are a whole different breed of left wing politics. They're people that even the moderate Democrats and liberals cannot get along with, and I can understand where people are like, well, these guys are calling themselves liberals, and they're liberals, but I don't see it that way. So I try not to identify them as liberals, because what they stand for is not about liberalism or anything like that. Quite the opposite. They're looking at elimination of rights and some pretty authoritarian kind of shit. But back onto the subject of Hillary Clinton going on the attack against Tulsi Gabbard. If there was a Democrat that I would ever follow or maybe vote for, it would be the Major, for the simple reason that she seems to be one of the few sane voices in the Democratic Party. And there's a few reasons why I would not vote for her. First among them is Trump is up for a second term, and he's been very good to the economy. He's been very good to the blue-collar worker. He's been very good to the average American. Now, from what I can see, it's maybe one of his bad traits that makes him such a likable person, and that is his. It's funny to actually say this when you put it into practice, but his narcissism. His narcissism demands that he be liked by a vast majority, and with that, with his desire to be liked, he wants to be loved and admired. So his political focus is trying to make as many people like him as possible, quite frankly. And the people, there are going to be those never Trumpers and whatnot, but what he's really aiming for is not necessarily those the progressives that were always going to be outraged by him. The people he was looking for are maintaining his support within his fan base, and drawing in the independent and moderates, even the moderate Democrats. So he's kept, very, very. It's not ultra conservative or anything like that, and really he's what I would call one of those, he has a lot of that New York Democrat kind of base to him, so he can understand where both sides of the politics have been. as he was once a Democrat, one of those East Coast New York Democrats. Anyway, but his narcissism and his desire to be liked has made him very in tune with trying to expand his voter base into the blue collar, low income workers and whatnot. I'm trying to make their lives a little bit better. Tax cuts, the bringing of jobs back to the country, and we're talking decent paying jobs for specialist work and trade work and whatnot. But that's one of the things that he's got going for him. And I think it was the wrong election for someone like Tulsi Gabbard to come into. I think it's a great introduction to who she is. She understands the plight of the soldier. Far be it for me to, I'm not going to criticize the National Guard or anything like that. There's some people that look at them as part-timers and, not real soldiers, weekend warriors and whatnot. I had the privilege when I was deployed to Iraq to actually stand guard and participate with these National Guardsmen. There was a few states that had gone through. We had Minnesota. We had the Minnesota National Guard, and one of the National Guard units from Texas while I was there. But when they were taking over the Taji prison from the Navy detainee battalion, which I was part of, they proved to be outstanding soldiers. And very willing to do the tasks that the full-time regular army was doing, and learning from the experienced people that were there, especially like my battalion with the Navy. But I think she really does understand the soldier's plight. She's deployed multiple times, from what I understand, to the Middle East, Afghanistan, and Iraq, in her time ranking up to major with the National Guard. And her domestic policy makes a lot of sense to me. I joined the military in 2001, just before 9/11. So my entire military career has been spent in conflict. Constant deployments to the Middle East. Navy would, typically do the deployments to the Middle East. It'd be a 6-month tour, come back home, that kind of stuff. And my first deployment actually was the beginning of the Iraq War. We were already doing stuff with Operation Enduring Freedom around Afghanistan. But I was there for the opening strikes of the Iraq War, at least on the Persian Gulf. And then from then on, it has been constant conflict, regime change, and wars, ideological wars, with a region that has been in conflict, open bloodshed for about 3,000 years. She wants to do away with those kind of wars, which I am all for. I mean, it kind of sounds a little messed up when I say it, that I don't want to be there. It may sound heartless and whatnot, but it's not like America's interjection into the region since the 1970s has produced any positive results, with the exception to the ousting of Saddam Hussein. Even then, when Saddam left, what happens? ISIS sprung up, the insurgency. You depose one leader, or when you chase out, say, in the relatively short time that we were able to chase out and pretty much decimate the Taliban, when we started pulling back, Taliban came back. It's not like we're going to be able to eliminate these problems unless we go in there boots on the ground, stomp the roaches until they stop moving, and salt the fucking earth. But she wants to do away with these regime change things, and I would like the United States to stop being the world's police. It would definitely save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of problems like that. When we have growing problems on our agenda with the incursions of the Chinese and whatnot. There's other battles that we could be preparing for, as opposed to constantly fighting battles, to depose enemy leaders or get rid of that kind of stuff, because the kind of force that we're capable of bringing to bear, it's absolutely devastating. But the kind of people we are attacking are the type that would have no problem, that would have no qualms in dressing up in civilian clothes, strapping themselves full of bombs, and blowing themselves up in a daycare to get their message across. So, I'm tired. I'm tired of the war, and I do believe that she has a good idea on that. What I don't agree with is her domestic policy. Her domestic policy does include a lot of progressive kind of talking points. The UBI, I still haven't rolled it around with the math to be able to figure out how you can get this UBI without seriously increasing the taxes that the American people already are paying. Kind of eliminates that $1,000 a month they want to give everybody when you're having to dish out, that's roughly about $1,000 a month yourself. Unless they plan on just saying, oh well, everyone will just at least get $12,000 back in their tax return, kind of shit. I don't know how they're going to do it. I keep rolling around the math in my head, and unless they plan on increasing taxes significantly, I don't see the UBI working. Like I said, some of her domestic policies I have problems with, because there are things like that would call for an expansion of the government, and I am not for a vastly expanded government. However, I do want to get back to the point where I was talking about Hillary Clinton going on the attack against Tulsi Gabbard, calling her being groomed as groomed for a third-party run and a secret asset of the Russians, and how ridiculous that sounds. For one, she does not strike anybody as the type that would commit to traitorous acts or espionage against the American people. She has shown herself to be a highly honorable woman and an honorable soldier. So there initially from the get-go, it was like there's nothing that would give any indication that she would be secretly an asset to the Russian government. What they're trying to say that she's a secret or an asset is because of this increased internet traffic that she's been getting, and then all these posts, and somehow they seem to think that even the trolls, the internet trolls that are out there, that are calling her mama and giving her a little extra bump as far as that goes, because she's kind of like the injection of sanity back into the Democratic Party, calling the trolls that would do that Russian assets, and which is ridiculous, because it's just, when you're talking about trolls, you're just looking at you just look at it as face value. It is a group of shit posters. There could be hundreds of thousands of shit posters out there, but it's 100,000 shit posters just saying, hey, this woman makes sense in a way. She may not be able to make all the sense to them, and like I said, there are plenty of people that have had issues with some of her domestic policies. They may not agree with her foreign policy stance, However, nobody really truly believes that she is a Russian asset. So for Hillary Clinton to actually put that out, you're going to chase away actual, honest, legitimate, moderate voters, which, because that is who she's trying to appeal to. She's not trying to appeal to the progressives that are already going to vote Democrat. She's not. She is trying to draw in the independent voter. She is trying to draw in the moderates, and she's actually trying to draw in those moderate conservatives that might have an issue with trying to go either more ultra conservative, or they may just have an issue with President Trump on how, maybe his personality or something like that. But quite honestly, the baseless attacks that Hillary Clinton is issuing is definitely not going to do her any favors, and definitely not going to do any favors for the Democratic Party in general by chasing out those moderate voters. That is the quickest way to be able to put them on the Trump train. Hell, what would be great? It would be hilarious if, and this is just by optics here, Tulsi Gabbard is not going to get the nomination. She's just not progressive enough. She is not. She is not. Sucking from the tainted teat of the Democratic Party, and that quagmire of fucking bullshit they keep getting fed and regurgitating out to the rest of us. But like I said, I don't believe she's going to get the nomination. I think she's going to get fucked out of it. But it would be absolutely hilarious if Donald Trump was to to actually go out and say that, hey, she makes quite a bit of sense, and tries and gets her placement within his cabinet, or a seat, at the table, where she can actually show that she is willing to work on both sides of the aisle and create a true bipartisan relationship, as opposed to what you're seeing, where it's just the left side of the aisle and the right side of the aisle that can't decide on which direction to take the country, except for the few sane voices out there that are being, drowned out by your AOCs, your Rashida Tlaibs, your Omars, and Presleys and whatnot. But yeah, that has been my 2 cents on the whole Hillary Clinton, Tulsi Gabbard situation thing here. It's a real shame that she's probably not going to get the nomination, because I think she would be the Democrats' best chance for any of this. I think everybody else is too far left, too far progressive, or has too many skeletons in their closet. But I don't know. Leave a comment in there. Good luck to you, Major. I'm just being realistic here, but there are people on the right side of the aisle that are willing to talk to people that make sense, and if you come up with some good ideas to try and to try and advance this country into the better direction, we're all for hearing it. Thank you very much. Leave a comment, and I appreciate it. Thank you.